It means there is continuation. I remember we are looking at section C, life, sub-theme 8, that is unending life. You have defined unending life as to mean that people continue to live in another form even after their death. Wonderful. That is a good definition, but we can still say unending life means life without an end. It is the continuation of human life in another form, usually in the form of spirit or soul, in the world which is invisible. If we talk of the world which is invisible, we mean the world which is unseen. You cannot see that world, but somebody is there in another form. Many words can be used to describe the life that is attended after the physical world or after death. And such words include life hereafter. You can mean an afterlife. It can be life after death. It can be eternal life. Many people confuse eternal life with eternal life. It is eternal life, not internal life. That mistake is common among learners. Many learners tend to describe it as internal life. It is eternal life. Eternal to mean unending, UN, does not end. It continues till infinity. It can be an everlasting life. So if it is an exam, they may ask the same thing using different words. They may use words like unending life. They may use words like life hereafter. They may use words like an afterlife. They may use words like life after death. They may use words like eternal life. They may use an everlasting life. Now we are moving to opinions or views about unending life today. Before you can go through my screen, can you tell me some of the views you have as Peter about unending life? When someone talks about unending life, what comes into your mind? I'm waiting for your definition to ponder about it. And where you are defeated, you quickly type in defeated so that we move forward. You said you don't hear me well. I was saying, what is your personal view about unending life? Hope you can now hear me well. When somebody talks about unending life, what opinion do you get? What view do you get? You can go through what is on my screen. It says that even after death, someone will continue to live, but in another form. That is very good. That is very good. I'll say we have many opinions. In the first instance, we believe that death is accepted as a reality of life for every human being. Experience, for that matter, it is unavoidable. In other words, no one can escape death, because it is through death that we get an ending life. The point we have just noted amongst the views or opinions about unending life is that death is accepted as a reality of life for every human being. Our point number 2, we can say, to some people, life after death is non-existent. To some people, life after death is non-existent. This is a view held by some scientists and the highly educated. Peter and the rest of the learners tuning in to this lesson of unending life, we are looking at opinions or views about unending life today. And we have said that some people believe that life after death is non-existent. In other words, they have a negative view about it. They believe that when you die, that is the end of you. And that view is mainly held by the scientists, who believe that as you die, you decompose. And when you decompose, that is the end of you. Remember, in the exam, there is no need for that detailed explanation. What we need is you to say, to some people, life after death is non-existent, and telling us that that view is held by scientists and the highly educated. Why the scientists? They believe that as you die, you decompose. Why the highly educated? It is because the highly educated have time and ability to ask so many questions. Then our point number 3, about the views or opinions about unending life today, we can say, to some people, life after death is determined by the morality or the way one behaves. Life after death is determined by the morality or the way one behaves. To mean that some people believe that if you are a kind of person who died having behaved badly, then your life after death will be a bad one. If you're a kind of person who died being righteous, doing good, then your life after death will be a good one. In other words, what you do determines the kind of life after death you are to live. That's why they hold a view that life after death is determined by the morality or the way one behaves. And now point number 4, we will say some people look at death as a mystery, something they cannot explain, and something that remains difficult for the human beings to understand. How do they fail to understand unending life, or they fail to understand death? I want you to look at Paul Job Kafero's song, Walumbezaya. In that song, he has a lot of message asking, what kind of death are you? Who takes the educated and the uneducated, the beautiful ones and the ugly ones, the poor ones and the rich ones, the young and the old? With all those questions, he was pointing to the fact that you cannot understand death. He was even pondering, if it was possible to bribe, he would bribe, such that he would escape death and all his relatives would escape death. But because it is impossible, there is no shortcut. That's why we are saying some people look at death as a mystery, and sometimes they believe that death is difficult for human beings to understand. That's why you lose somebody today, you cry. After 4 years, you lose another person, you still mourn. After 5 years, you lose another person, you wail, you remain in sorrow. In other words, you cannot get used to death. You cannot say, but because we lost so many people, now this one has died, there is not forgetting sad. We are used to it. You cannot get used to death. Why? Because, oh, sorry, I have lost Peter. Maybe I'll just continue. You'll get a recording. Sorry. Hope you'll join later on. But we're saying that death is taken to be brutal, rude, and cruel by some people. It robs them of their beloved and their dear ones unexpectedly. From nowhere, somebody dies. That's why we are saying death is taken to be brutal, rude, and cruel by some people. They are looking at it as cruel because of the way it happens. Or could this be Peter? Yes, Peter. Could this be? Hello, Peter? Hello. Hello.
Peter is off.
Yes, Peter.
Peter is off. Peter is on.
Hello. You are on?
Teacher Isco, Peter is off.
Yes, I've seen he's off.
Yes. Now I don't know.
He came back and again left.
Yeah, he's on and off. I don't know if we could. Let's just. You send him reading materials.
Yes.
And then you give him an assignment. He comes and explains the next time you meet.
I thought I would continue and we send him a recording later.
No, just send him a. This is Jeff, by the way.
Okay.
He's back, but
As if he has come back.
he's back, but is not connected yet.
Okay.
So what you can do is prepare your reading an activity.
Yes.
Then you send him so that he can come and present what he understands. Then he will guide.
Understood.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Otherwise, were you hearing me well?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Maybe he has issues with his computer.
Yeah,
Let me do that.